Let's talk about emotional abuse and generational curses. Yes, they can go hand in hand. And why I say that, because think about when we were growing up and certain things you would hear, as in, great example, you're not going to be anything, or you just like your daddy, you're just like your mommy, you're just like whomever, or you're not going to amount to anything. Again, those things sit in your head and you start believing it. And guess what? That is trauma. That's childhood trauma, if you want to be exact. But also, as it sits in your head and it's constantly being repeated, and somebody also continues to dwell in that space and just spew it at you, that is emotional abuse. That turns into, again, trauma. And eventually, as you have kids and as you grow and whatever it may be, it turns into a generational curse, because you may be projecting that onto your kids and to your family and not even knowing it, right? So how do we stop these things? How do we recognize the emotional abuse that, again, we may not know it's emotional abuse, because realistically, we just grew up thinking this is our norm? Good question, right? So let's first and foremost, let's start educating ourselves. What are we giving to ourselves daily? What are we reading? What are we seeing? Especially with social media. Are you gravitating toward those things that are more negative or more positive? Are we feeding into ourselves in a positive way that takes those things and those negative thoughts and feelings and emotions away? Are we still sitting in that where we're still hearing it in some type of form of capacity that basically you're not going to amount to anything? That's not true. That's not true. You're worthy and you're deserving, and you can do a lot of things, but it's up to you how you want to do it. So let's break these thought processes. Let's break these generational curses. Let's understand that it's creating trauma, and it comes from trauma, but also the generational curses that tries to bound us to it. Let's let it go. Let's stop with you. Let's start with you. Stop it with you. And what are we going to start feeding into our relationships, intimate relationships, and also with our children, also with our families, and also even on our job? Like, how are we going to do this? And again, it's up to you to stop it and also start those healthy responses and behaviors, because you can do it. So if you're ready, let's go.